Tonight, we journey together to a place that exists in memory and dream. A small harbour town nestled at the edge of the known world, where the sea meets the sky and the ancient rhythms of life flow as steadily as the tide. Let yourself settle now. Feel the weight of your body against the surface beneath you. There is nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. The day has released you, and the night holds you gently in its keeping. Breathe in slowly, deeply. Feel the air fill your lungs like a cool wind from the north. And as you exhale, let go of everything you've been carrying. Let it drift away like smoke from a distant fire. We're going back in time now, back through the centuries, to a place where life was simpler, slower, measured not by clocks, but by the sun and stars, by the turning of seasons, by the endless conversation between land and sea. The year is lost to us now. It doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling of this place, the texture of the air, the quality of the light as it fades from gold to amber to deep, velvety blue. You are standing on a hillside overlooking a small harbour. Below you, wooden longships rest in the water, their curved prows rising like the necks of sleeping swans. The houses cluster near the shore, their turf roofs green with grass, smoke rising lazily from their central hearths. This is a place of peace, a place where the world has always been this way and always will be. A place where time itself seems to breathe more slowly. Let us walk down together toward the water's edge. Let us enter this ancient evening and allow it to wrap around us like a warm cloak woven from wool and starlight. Part 1. Descent to the harbour. The path beneath your feet is worn smooth by countless footsteps. Generations of people who have walked this same route between the high pastures and the sea. Grass grows on either side, bent and silvered by the constant wind that comes from the north, carrying with it the scent of salt and distance. You walk slowly, easily. There is no rush here. Time moves like honey, thick and golden and sweet. The evening air is cool against your face. It carries the smell of wood smoke and pine resin, of seaweed drying on the rocks, of fish being prepared for tomorrow's journey. These are the scents of life itself, simple and honest and true. As you descend, the harbour opens before you like a story being told. You can see the curve of the bay, protected by two arms of dark rock that embrace the water. Beyond, the fjord stretches away into dimness, its surface catching the last light of day like hammered silver. 3 longships rest in the harbour, tied to wooden posts that rise from the shallows. The ships rock gently, perpetually, in rhythm with the breathing of the sea. Their masts are bare now, the sails furled and stored, but you can imagine them unfurled and full of wind, carrying these vessels to places whose names sound like poetry. Orkney, Gotland, the Western Isles. But tonight, they rest. Tonight, everything rests. The path curves, and you follow it down, through rough grasses where small yellow flowers bloom close to the ground. Their petals close now against the approaching night. Somewhere above, a seabird calls, a lonely, lovely sound that echoes against the hills and fades into the wind. You reach the first of the houses. Its walls are made of timber, dark with age and weather, and its roof is thick with growing grass that moves gently in the breeze. A single door faces the harbour, and beside it, a small window glows with the warm light of the fire within. The door is partially open, and you can hear the low murmur of voices inside, a family speaking quietly together, the occasional soft laugh of a child. But you do not disturb them. You walk past, honoring their privacy, their peace. The ground levels now as you reach the harbor proper. Here, the earth is packed hard by constant use, mixed with crushed shells and small stones. To your left, several buildings stand in a row, a storage house for dried fish, a workshop where the sound of a hammer on wood rings out in slow, measured beats, and a longer building with smoke rising from two hearths. To your right, the water laps against the shore with a sound like breathing, like the world itself is alive and resting, dreaming its own vast dream. Part 2. The Harbour at Dusk. You walk to the water's edge and stand there, simply watching, simply being. The tide is turning. You can sense it more than see it. That subtle moment when the sea pauses between coming and going, when everything hangs in perfect balance. The water is dark now, reflecting the deepening sky, but near the shore it's clear enough to see the smooth stones on the bottom, the strands of kelp swaying like the hair of sleeping mermaids. The 3 longships float a short distance out, tethered by thick ropes. They are beautiful in their simplicity, long and low, built for speed and grace, each plank fitted perfectly to the next. Their prows curve upward and end in carved spirals, elegant and proud. In daylight you would see the intricate patterns carved into the wood, the painted shields hung along the sides. But in this fading light, they are silhouettes, shadows, dreams of ships rather than ships themselves. One of them rocks a little more than the others, and you realize there is someone aboard, a figure moving slowly, checking the ties, ensuring everything's secure for the night. The figure works without hurry, with the practiced ease of someone who has done this 1,000 times before. After a moment, the person climbs over the side and wades through the shallow water to shore. As he comes closer, you see it is an older man, his beard grey and long, his face weathered like driftwood. He wears simple clothes, wool trousers and a tunic, both faded to the colour of stone. His feet are bare, and water drips from them as he walks. He sees you and nods, a simple acknowledgement, one traveller to another. His eyes are kind, creased at the corners from years of squinting into sun and wind. He doesn't speak, but something in his expression welcomes you, tells you that you belong here, that this place is yours as much as it is his. He walks past you toward one of the houses, and you watch him go, this guardian of ships, this keeper of the harbor's peace. The sky is deepening now, transforming from pale gold to rose to a blue so pure and deep it seems to hold all the secrets of the world. The first star appears, bright and solitary above the dark line of the distant hills, then another and another, until the sky begins to fill with points of light, ancient and eternal. Part 3. The Longhouse. You turn away from the water and walk toward the largest building in the village, the longhouse that serves as the heart of this small community. Its walls are thick timber, darkened by smoke and time, and its roof is steep and covered with turf from which grass and small flowers grow. 2 doorways pierce the long sides, and from within comes the glow of firelight and the murmur of voices. You approach the nearest door and pause at the threshold. The warmth that flows out is like an embrace, carrying with it the scent of roasting meat, of barley bread, of pine wood burning, of wool and leather, and the good, honest smell of people living together. Inside, the space stretches away into shadow. The central hearth runs down the middle of the building, a long trench filled with burning logs that cast dancing light across everything. The smoke rises up and escapes through vents in the roof, but some of it lingers, creating a soft haze that makes the whole space feel dreamlike, unreal, suspended between worlds. Benches line the walls, and on these sit the people of the village, perhaps 20 or 30 souls gathered together as night falls. Some are working. A woman spins wool from a distaff, her fingers moving with automatic grace. A man repairs a fishing net, his hand sure and steady. A younger man carves a piece of wood with a small knife, creating something beautiful from something ordinary. Others simply sit and talk quietly, or stare into the fire, or listen to the voice that rises from near the far hearth. An old woman is telling a story. Her voice is low and musical, rising and falling like the waves outside. You cannot hear all the words, but you catch fragments. Something about a ship, a storm, a journey to the edge of the world. The children sitting at her feet are motionless, utterly absorbed, their faces lit by firelight, their eyes wide with wonder. You find a place near the door and sit down on a bench that has been worn smooth by generations of use. The wood is warm beneath you. You can feel the heat from the fire reaching across the space, gentle and constant. No one questions your presence here. No one asks where you came from or why you've come. In this time, in this place, travelers are expected, welcomed, given food and shelter and a place by the fire. You are part of the community simply by being here, simply by sharing this warmth, this light, this moment of gathered peace. A woman brings you a wooden bowl filled with stew, fish and barley and root vegetables, flavored with herbs and salt. The bowl is warm in your hands, and the food is simple and good, nourishing in a way that goes beyond the body. You eat slowly, tasting each bite, grateful for this sustenance, this kindness. Nearby, a young girl sits beside her mother, learning to spin. The mother's hands guide the daughter's, showing her how to draw out the fiber, how to twist it into thread. They work together in silence, but it is a comfortable silence, full of love and patience and the slow passing of knowledge from one generation to the next. The old woman's story ends, and for a moment there is silence, except for the crackling of the fire. Then someone else begins to speak, a man's voice this time, deep and thoughtful, telling a different story, or perhaps continuing the same one in a different way. Part 4. By the fire. The fire burns steadily, flames leaping and falling, embers glowing like small suns. You watch the light play across the faces around you, faces weathered by wind and sun, faces young and smooth, faces lined with age and wisdom. Each one tells its own story of days lived close to the sea, close to the land, close to the rhythms that have sustained human life since the beginning of time. The walls of the longhouse are hung with things both practical and beautiful, shields painted in bright colors, red and blue and yellow, though the colors are muted now in the firelight. Tapestries woven with geometric patterns, with images of ships and birds and the twisting forms of creatures from old stories. Tools hang from pegs, axes and saws and coils of rope, everything needed for life in this place between forest and sea. From the rafters hang bundles of drying herbs, and fish split and salted, and links of sausages. The smell is rich and complex, layered, speaking of plenty and preparation, of the long winter that will come and the need to be ready. But winter is far away still. Tonight is summer, the season of long light, of growing things, of voyages and fishing and work beneath the endless sky. Tonight is a moment of rest in the midst of plenty, a pause to gather together and share warmth and stories before tomorrow's work begins again. Someone begins to sing, a simple melody, wordless and haunting, and others join in, their voices blending and rising like smoke toward the rafters. The song is ancient, older than memory, passed down through so many generations that no one remembers who first sang it or what it means. But it doesn't matter. What matters is the singing itself, the way the voices weave together, the way the sound fills the space and creates something that is more than the sum of its parts. You close your eyes and let the music wash over you. It sounds like the sea, like the wind in the pines, like the voice of the earth itself singing its own slow song. The song ends and quiet returns. The fire crackles. Someone coughs softly. A baby fusses briefly and is soothed by its mother's gentle humming. You open your eyes and look around again, and you realize that several people have fallen asleep where they sit. Children curled against their parents, an old man leaning against the wall, his head nodded forward, his breathing deep and even. Sleep comes easily here, naturally, like water flowing downhill. Outside, full darkness has fallen. Through the open door, you can see stars scattered across the sky, like sparks from a great forge, cold and bright and impossibly distant. The air that flows in from outside is cool now, carrying the scent of night, damp earth, cold stone, the endless mystery of the sea. Part 5. Walking in starlight. You rise quietly from your place and step outside. No one stops you, no one follows. You are free to move as you wish, to seek the solitude that sometimes calls more strongly than companionship. The air is crisp and clean, so pure it almost hurts to breathe. Your eyes adjust slowly to the darkness, and gradually the world reveals itself. The houses standing silent and solid, the masts of the ships like dark fingers pointing at the sky, the water reflecting the stars in rippling, shimmering patterns. You walk toward the shore again, drawn by the eternal pull of the sea. The stones are cool beneath your feet now, and damp with dew that has begun to form. Somewhere in the darkness, you hear the soft sound of water lapping against the hulls of the ships, against the rocks, against the shore. The sky above is magnificent, a river of stars flowing from horizon to horizon, so many that they seem to merge into a pale, luminous cloud. The people here call it different names: the path of birds, the road of ghosts, the bridge to the halls of the gods. But you know it simply as beauty, as wonder, as a reminder of how small you are and how vast the universe is, and somehow both truths are comforting. You stand at the water's edge and look out across the fjord. The hills on the far side are barely visible, dark masses against the slightly lighter sky. Somewhere out there, beyond those hills, beyond the next bay, and the next, lies the open ocean, vast and powerful and mysterious, full of fish and whales and islands no one has named. And beyond them, if the stories are true, lands where people speak different languages and build their houses from stone instead of wood and worship gods with different names. But all of that is far away. Here, now, there is only this: the gentle movement of water, the cool night air, the stars wheeling slowly overhead in their eternal dance. You breathe deeply, filling your lungs with the night. You can taste salt on your lips, feel the gentle touch of wind against your face. Your body is tired in a good way, the kind of tiredness that comes from a full day lived well, from walking and working and being part of something larger than yourself. Part 6. The Night Fisher. A figure emerges from the shadows, near one of the storage houses. At first you think it might be the old man from earlier, but as he comes closer you see it is someone younger, broad-shouldered and strong, carrying a coil of rope over one shoulder and a basket in one hand. He walks past you to the water's edge and sets down his basket. Inside are fishing lines and hooks, carefully wrapped and stored. He begins to uncoil his rope, checking it for wear, running it through his hands with practiced attention. You watch him work, and after a moment he senses your presence and looks up. He smiles, a quiet, peaceful expression. "Going out for the night fishing," he says simply, his voice low and gentle, not wanting to disturb the quiet. The cod come close to shore after dark, following the smaller fish. You nod, understanding. Everything here is governed by the rhythms of nature, when to fish, when to plant, when to harvest, when to sail. These people read the signs that the earth and sea provide, and they live in harmony with them. He continues his preparations, moving with calm efficiency. He walks to one of the smaller boats pulled up on the shore, a simple wooden craft, sturdy and practical. He begins to push it toward the water, and without thinking, you move to help him. Together, you slide the boat down until it floats, and he steadies it while he places his gear inside. "Thank you," he says quietly. And there is genuine warmth in his voice, genuine appreciation for this small kindness. He climbs into the boat and takes up the oars. With smooth, powerful strokes, he rows out into the darkness, the boat gliding across the still water, leaving behind a trail of ripples that catch the starlight. You watch him go until he is just a shadow among shadows, and then even that fades, and there is only the water and the sky and the stars. Part 7. Return to the longhouse. You turn back toward the longhouse, but you don't go inside. Instead, you find a place to sit on a bench outside one of the smaller houses, a spot where you can lean back against the wall and look up at the sky. The turf roof beside you is soft with moss, and small flowers grow there. You can see their pale forms even in the darkness, nodding gently in the breeze. The wall behind you holds the warmth of the day, and it radiates gently into your back, a comfort against the cool night air. From inside the longhouse, you can still hear voices, but they are quieter now, softer, as more people drift towards sleep. A woman's voice, singing a lullaby, so gentle, it seems part of the wind itself. The low murmur of two people talking, their words indistinct, but their tone peaceful, companionable. The stars continue their slow wheel overhead. You pick out the familiar patterns, the 7 stars of the Wain, the bright eye of the North Star, constant and true. Sailors use these stars to navigate, to find their way across the trackless sea. But tonight, they are simply beautiful, simply there, simply part of the great mystery of existence. Your breathing slows, deepens. You can feel your heartbeat, steady and calm, in rhythm with the gentle pulse of the world around you. Everything is connected. Your breath to the wind, your heartbeat to the waves, your presence to this place, this moment. This perfect now. A dog trots past, heading for one of the houses. It pauses and looks at you, its eyes reflecting the starlight for a moment, and then continues on its way, unconcerned. Somewhere nearby, a cat mews softly, calling for its dinner or simply announcing its presence to the night. The smells of the harbour drift around you, smoke and salt and pine, fish and wool and earth. These are the smells of life, of community, of people working together to survive and thrive in this beautiful, harsh, demanding place. Part 8. The Turning Tide. Time passes, though you cannot say how much. It might be an hour, it might be minutes. Time has lost its meaning here, dissolved into the greater rhythms of night and tide and stars. You become aware of a change in the sound of the water. The tide is rising now, the sea returning, reclaiming the shore inch by inch. You can hear it more clearly, the gentle splash and gurgle as the water flows around the rocks, as it lifts the boats higher on their tethers, as it brings the deep ocean closer to the land. This is the breath of the world, in and out, advance and retreat, the eternal conversation between sea and shore that has continued since the beginning of time and will continue long after you and everyone you know has returned to the earth. You stand and walk back to the water's edge. The tide has advanced several feet since you last stood here. Small waves lap at the stones, each one reaching a little farther than the last, patient and persistent and unstoppable. Far out in the darkness, you see a small light. The night fisherman's lantern, a single point of warm glow on the vast dark water. He is out there alone, working through the night, providing for his family and his community. The sight fills you with a quiet joy, a deep appreciation for the simple courage of ordinary life. The stars are reflected in the water now, duplicated and dancing, as if there are two skies, one above and one below, and you are standing between them, part of both worlds, neither entirely solid nor entirely spirit. You feel the pull of sleep now, gentle but insistent, like the tide itself. Your body is ready to rest, to surrender to the darkness, to trust in the safety of this place and this moment. Closing, the harbour sleeps. You make your way back to one of the smaller houses where a space has been prepared for travellers like yourself. Inside, the fire has burned down to glowing embers that provide just enough light to see by. A sleeping bench along the wall is covered with furs and wool blankets, thick and warm and welcoming. You remove your shoes and lie down, pulling the coverings over you. The furs are soft against your skin, and the wool is warm and slightly scratchy in a comforting way. You can smell the sheep in it, smell the grass and sun and wind that the sheep lived among. Through the small window, you can see a patch of stars. They are steady, eternal, keeping watch while the world below them sleeps. Outside, the harbour continues its ancient rhythms. The tide rises, lifting the boats. The waves breathe against the shore. The wind moves through the grass on the turf roofs. The night fisherman rows in slow circles, checking his lines. In the longhouse, the fire burns low, and people sleep in peaceful clusters, safe and warm and together. This is how it has been for generations. This is how it will be for generations to come. The seasons will turn, summer to autumn to winter to spring, and always there will be this harbour, these ships, these people living their lives in rhythm with the earth and sea. You close your eyes and feel yourself sinking, drifting, floating. The sound of the water is like a lullaby, soft and constant and soothing. The firs around you are like an embrace, like being held by the world itself. Your breathing slows, your heartbeat quiets, your thoughts become like mist, like fog drifting across the water, formless and gentle and fading. The harbor sleeps, the ships sleep, the village sleeps, the stars keep their silent watch, and you sleep too, deeply and peacefully, held in the arms of this ancient place, this moment between worlds, this perfect peace. The tide rises, the stars turn, the world dreams, and you dream with it. Rest now, traveler. Rest well, rest deep. The harbor holds you, the night protects you, the sea sings you to sleep. And in the morning, though morning is far away, so far away, there will be bird song and sunlight and the smell of bread baking and smoke rising and the boats going out and the nets being cast and all the simple, beautiful work of living. But that is tomorrow. Tonight, there is only this: peace, stillness, sleep. Deep, nourishing, healing sleep. The harbor at the edge of the world, where time moves differently, where the stars are close, where you are safe, where you are home. Sleep now. Sleep.